Good morning, everyone. Glad that you have made it to another session of Stronger and Better. As you see, I got my two moms here, and we're gonna have a great conversation on this morning. We're just gonna wait for some more people to come in. Please, as you come in, say hello to us and make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel because we're going to be pushing some things out pretty soon on YouTube. So please join us on YouTube. Say good morning to us as you come in. Good morning, Miss Claudia. Good to see you. Miss Richards. Good to see you this morning. Hello. We got Robin here. Good morning, Robin Whitley. What's going on? Good to see you live. We got Jackie Massey. What's up? Good to see you this morning. Oh, Kashara's on. Good to see her. She just bought a house. Yeah, we got congratulations. Good. Yeah. Good. I'm so proud of you, sis. What's going on? So say good morning to us. Let us know that you're here. We see more people coming in. Is this all worth it? So that's what we're going to be talking about on today. Is this all worth it? So when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dealing with different things in life, so that's a tough subject. That's a tough subject. So please say good morning to us as you come in. Like I said, make sure that you are sharing us each and every week. Please do a watch party. We want as many people to participate in the conversation. And please send your comments. Join us live. I'm putting in the post right now that if you have questions, if you want to come on live with us, you can definitely do that. You can join us and be part of the conversation on today. We want to make sure that everybody's getting their questions answered as we have candid conversations, right? So, good morning, Miss Vanessa Green. Good to see you on this morning. We got Miss Alzenia in the house. What's going on, Alzenia? We got Miss R. Scott here. Good to see you. Willie R. Scott. Good to see you on today. Glad that you can participate. We still have people coming in. I see more and more people are joining us, so please say good morning to us. Let us know that you are here. Good morning, Miss Valerie. That's my girl right there. I miss you so much. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. So please come on in, join us, and please, like I said, if you have questions for us this morning, we're going to be talking about, is it all worth it? Good morning. We got Miss Pat Thomas on here. Good morning to you. Glad to see you on this morning. We got Robin Smith in the house. What's going on, Robin? Good to see you here this morning. We got people still coming in. So glad to have both of my mothers here. You know, I can't act up too much when my mom's here, so I'm gonna try to be well behaved today. Hey, Auntie, what's going on? What's going on? Doris, she is in the house, and Miss Walker is in the house. Good to see y'all this morning. So we're going to jump right into this because we don't want to prolong this conversation because I think this is a good conversation. Miss Gloria Jones just walked in, and Miss Paula Williams is in here. But we're about to go ahead and get started, and we're talking about, is it all worth it? And I think that was an important topic to kind of talk about because I've been talking to some of my friends about just some of the situations that they've been going through, and especially within relationships and just how much it has it's causing stress in their lives about dealing with people and dealing with not necessarily only their issues, but the issues of people around them.
Right.
And so I thought it was something that we need to talk about this morning. But I wanted to start this conversation off by reading a short story here of somebody who was making a provoking statement. And so I'm going to go ahead and read it. It says, "It's funny because I ask myself this question at times, and depending on my mood, the answer I give changes. To be honest, I want more than anything to be in love again, but for all the right reasons, not because I'm bored or lonely." And then it says, "I want trust, communication, commitment to grow together in this craziness called life. I want someone to cook dinner with and binge watch some cool shows. I want to have someone who I know has my back and who I trust 100%. And then she says, "I know relationships are really hard work. Along with great things, there is also work. No one is perfect. Plus, no matter how in love you are with someone, if you live with them, most likely they would get on your nerves. And at some point, it's normal. Then she says, what isn't normal is an abusive behavior. And without going into depth, that was my last relationship. It's been over a year that I have been single, but I ask myself, is it worth it having to give 100% and giving my heart to someone? There was quite a while where I questioned if it is even possible for me to ever do it so again. Mm-hmm. Well, in my heart, I do believe it's worth it if you find someone who is deserving of it. I would settle for nothing less. I have come to be able to like my own company and don't need to have anyone else. Then she says, I would like to have it, but don't need it. Although it makes quite a big difference in my life. It's not my nature to ever give up on love, she says. So I thought that was kind of a good story to kind of talk about, because I think a lot of people is where this young lady is,
right?
Where they're going through whatever within their relationships, married or being single,
right?
That dictates the way their future relationships are, or how they're dealing with their spouse. Right. And so I just kind of wanted to throw that at y'all to start the conversation. I don't know who wants to start and talk about that.
Well, that's true of the first one. I'm talking about that one. I believe that when she said it's not my nature to ever give up on love, that's a good thing, because if you have it in your heart that you really don't want to give up on love, that means that's a good sign that you have actually going into, you're probably not totally healed, but you're in the process of healing so that you can have an effective relationship. And some people would go through what she went through. They would give up on love, because some of the times it's because of, some people give up because of the fact that they are in so many failed relationships.
Yeah.
So many relationships where they are abused physically, mentally, emotionally, and verbally. So it's hard for them to actually let the guard down, to actually want to get into another relationship. And then listening to family, friends, negative things, telling them who they're not. And they know who they are. And they begin to think who they are not. So that's a reason why.
And also, I think too, it takes time for when you're in and out of a relationship, especially if you've been married and you're now single, you have to have time to spend with yourself to find out, what am I doing to cause this to happen to me?
Right.
Or what am I doing to cause me to do something to the other person? Because 9 times out of 10, if you don't have time to really get yourself together, where your mind is free, where you're thinking about your future, if you don't do this, when you get into another relationship, it's going to be that again or worse, because you didn't settle the problem the first time.
Yeah, that's good. In terms of trying to settle some of the things that's going on in your mind, and some of the baggage that we bear in terms of our relationships and how we bring it on. How do you think, or what are good practical ways that people can kind of analyze what they're going through and kind of settle that in their mind?
Right. I think you need at least, like I say, from 3 months to a year before you really get into a relationship. Sometimes people jump right from a marriage into another relationship. You haven't had a chance to focus or think about what has just happened and where I'm going from here. And then you get all lovey-dovey and all this kind of stuff, and you go on for a few years or so, and then you find out this is not the right person for me. And so you know, and I could attest to that because of the fact that in two serious relationships, you know, and it took me some time to really get over one in ornaments for me to do what God wanted me to do. And so that's what I'm saying. And, you know, and like my husband always say that we all are spiritual.
Yeah.
And we have a sense of God in us.
Right.
But we take the opportunity of his love and reject what he's saying to us. He speaks to us in different little ways,
Right.
but you know it's him in some kind of way, but you don't want to. That you want to go your way. You want to be selfish.
Right.
Right. That's not for me. I know that's the devil speaking to me. And I've said that sometimes too. And it was wrong.
Yeah. That's true, because I mean, God would always speak to us, and sometimes we don't want to hear what God's saying, and that's an issue.
Yeah.
And God said going this way, but I love the person that's the other way. But God said you can't. No, that's not right.
That's the truth, and I think a lot of times when we're in that position, we really don't know what love is.
Yeah,
that's true. And then we come up, we find ourselves in a pattern lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you just said. We find ourselves in a pattern lifestyle where we start doing things over as a cycle. So we have to do a self-examination of ourselves.
Right.
And so how am I attracting these wrong relationships? What am I doing that I'm attracting this?
Right.
You know, so
yeah. All right, so I mean, we talked about new relationships, because but when you're in a marriage, there's not that time of reprieve or break for a year. For you can't just leave your husband or your wife for a year and then come back.
Right.
So I mean, when you're in depth into a situation like that, how should you handle that situation? Because your mate is right there in your face all the time, and you're dealing with all this past stuff that you have trust issues, or they did something to you that have caused you not to trust them. How do you deal with that cycle?
Well, I'm thinking about, you got a mask on, number one. Because you need to take the mask off. And you need to communicate with him. You're going to have to reveal yourself, your true self. That I'm not healed from this. I can attest to my own self, because when me and Freeman and I got married, I was still not totally healed. I was still hurting, but I put a mask on. And it was like nothing was wrong, but he felt rejected. He felt sometimes unloved. Because I was still stuck in the past. The past hurt and the pain. So I had to take that mask off to keep my husband. Because eventually, if they're not strong enough in the Lord, number one, they're going to look the other way. At some point, the enemy going to put somebody in their path that's going to fill that void, what they're missing. So
I think that's true. So we wear these masks all the time, and we want people to think certain things, and act, we want them to act a certain way. What were you about to say, Mom?
I was going to say, and even sometimes you have an idea. I say, like myself, I always wanted a Christian man. And when I say Christian man, when you say that, you think you're saying the right thing, but you don't know what comes with this. Are they truly a Christian? Are they just a church goer? Do they really believe what Jesus says? And so you have so many things that you go through when you're saying that, like some men say, well, I want a Christian woman, but you got to really get to know them to find out where they are.
That's right.
And even sometimes
there's some crazy Christian folks.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They sometimes the worst one.
That's true.
That's the truth.
They sometimes the worst one.
Because that comes with that mask.
That comes with that mask.
It's fake. That Christianity is fake.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm telling the fake enough until I get you.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got a heckle. What is the heckle inside? What that thing called?
Yeah.
You got the two masks.
Oh, you got the two masks. You got
it's
you
like,
two different
Jekyll and
Mr. Hyde. Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. But it's funny. So we talking about, love, and you guys were married. Mom, you've been married, let's say 45 years, and you were married.
We were married 28 years.
And you was married 28 years, and I'm talking to a lot of younger people, and they're saying love is a thing of the past.
Okay.
It's a thing of the past, and love is almost, it's a cliche in terms of, because if you really love me, you wouldn't treat me the way you treat me, or, and a lot of people now are just like we talked about in these selfish ambitions in terms of, what they want out the relationship, and not really think about the other person. So, is love really a thing of the past? And people should be chasing for love? Or, I even talked to somebody before. They said, their marriage was not a loving marriage. It was a business. It was like a business transaction, because they had kids and they was just trying to make it through. So is love a thing of the past?
Well, I don't think so, because even now, a lot of times I can just sit sometime and look at my husband, and I think about how good God has been to us, and I see where, as true love, when I think about Jesus, even putting us in the path that we have gone through to make it to where we are right now. And it's so much behind that, because you can even get teary eyes when you look at that person and you thank God for, and we are not saying that you're not supposed to have trials and tribulations.
Right.
Yes, you're going to have those, but you learn how to, as you grow in Christ, you learn how to manage through whatever it is that you're going to. And first of all, you got to find a time in your marriage where you be truthful. You can go back and you can say, I did this, I did that, and you might not know about this or that, or you might not know about this person or that person, and you just come clean. And when you do that, the enemy doesn't have anything to hold over you. And so therefore you're moving on, but he's always there to try and distract us, like you said a few minutes ago, well, you did this to me, or I did this to you, and you always want to blame somebody, but God is showing us His love of look how He did, and it comes natural to me. I can just, because of the fact that I have been to Israel, and I can just see Jesus on that cross on Calvary and stuff like that, with His bones being broken, and how He bled and died and all of that. It becomes real when you but you got to focus. You got to want to know the Word. You want to read your Bible, and once you start reading your Bible, you will find all of this in the Bible, all these stories about some of the same people in the Bible that is happening to you and me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and when you're talking about chasing, when you're saying, is it worth chasing after? But sometimes you can be chasing, thinking you have the right thing, and it's not the right thing, because you got emotional love, you got different kinds of love. You got that eros love, where there's that physical love. Yeah. Oh, every time I see him, I just that's eros love. That's that physical thing. That's that physical attraction. That's all that is. But when that emotional love is like a roller coaster. You just a flaming fireplace. You're up one day, the next time you look down, the flame is going out. So that's that emotional love. But when you get that agape love, that's that commitment of, that's that God kind of love. That's what we're looking for. That's that love that wants to give and not take. That's that love that wants to always lift you up, help you when you're down, lift you up, work together. So that's that God kind of love. That's that stick and stay love. That everlasting
stick and stay love. I like that.
Love, regardless of what's going on. You stay in there, regardless of what's going on.
That's
Willing
it.
to
Yeah.
say, you know that you're sorry, even if you're not wrong.
If you're not wrong, I know I was right a lot of times, and I used to tell my husband I'm sorry, but I know I'm right. But I didn't tell him that. I just say I'm really sorry because he didn't like confrontation.
Yeah.
He didn't like arguing.
Yeah.
So I'm the one who was like, he was like, babe. I'm like, okay, I know I'm right, but I'll be quiet.
But it's
So
funny,
that's that God kind of look.
because I was looking at a video of this guy that a couple of days ago. The first thing he said is, if you want to be in a relationship, you have to know how to forgive.
Yes.
If you don't know how to forgive, you do not need to be in a relationship. I said, wow.
Definitely.
That's powerful.
It is.
That's
It is.
powerful. So one of the questions was, how should we go go through past pain, and how do we go through past pain and restore the confidence in our lovers or new love? How do we restore this? Like what is a process for us to restore this love?
Okay, you are you saying past pain in a marriage or just
I think it's past pain in marriage and
In
relationships,
yeah.
because like even when we was reading the story earlier, she didn't go into it, but she said that she has even been through some abusive some kind of abusive relationship, and for her it's probably no, or any human, when they go into the next relationships, they don't want to be treated that way.
Right.
And even if that person isn't abusing them,
right,
you still on edge.
That's right.
And you still got that in your heart, or that fear, that defense. How you get rid of that? Like,
but I think one way is that people don't want to do this, but people need therapy. And I heard someone say, I don't know if it's on TV or where it was, but they said everybody needs a therapy. My husband said that.
Yeah, he did.
My husband said that everybody needs therapy. The ones who need it and the ones who don't think they need it. Everybody needs therapy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the only way that you, other than the therapist, and your relationship with Christ is the only way that you would get rid of the pain that you have been through. And you know that you've gotten through this pain when you're able to talk about it and it doesn't bother you.
No, that's true.
Yeah, you can laugh.
That's true.
You can laugh about it. Even in a relationship, if the pain has been there and you are able to talk about that what pain you know that you've conquered.
And when you're in a state where your mind is not renewed, your mind is constantly living backwards in the past.
Right.
And just like Pastor was saying just a moment, you have to forgive.
Yeah.
That's the because the forgiveness is the medicine and the cure. Because if you don't forgive, then you're still stuck in the past, because you cannot go any further without that medicine of forgiveness.
Right. And another thing that I found out with people, you have to watch what has happened in your family. A lot of times you will see either your mom, your dad, or your aunts, or your granddad, or somebody has gone through the same thing that you are going through right now. And you have to learn how. That's why I say you need a therapist to get beyond that, or this won't happen to me.
Yeah. And that's right. That's good. I was thinking when you was talking about really being intentional about when you're having those feelings, you probably need to step back, pray, and ask God, release me from, these feelings. I don't want to put this on this person, my mate. God, help me, deliver me and then be intentional about taking the steps of not doing it. Not doing it.
Repeating the past.
And repeating it. And I think that's important for us to make sure that, you have it in your forefront, in your mind, that, okay, I got to change this.
Yes.
I know what I've been through, but I got to change this. If not, it's almost like miserable people affect,
Mm-hmm.
put that misery on somebody
Yeah.
else. And that's
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's a cycle, like you were just talking
Right.
about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hurting people hurt people.
One other thing is that sometimes people are insecure.
Yeah, that's true.
And some of them really doesn't have like, I know some women are insecure about different things about them,
Mm-hmm.
about their bodies,
Right.
about their color, about their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that shouldn't be in a way that you don't think yourself is a good looking person or smart person,
Mm-hmm.
or know how to socialize and stuff like that. It's a lot of insecurity going around as well.
Yeah.
Not only with women, but men too.
Right. And then we have to also be careful, like you were saying, about the way that we're brought up. Some children, or when their parents talk to them, they call them nappy head, they call them they call them names, and when they grow up, it sticks with them. You're never going to be anything. It's in young boys especially too. You knucklehead, you're not gonna ever be anything. You're not gonna graduate. You're not gonna do anything. And so this sticks with them. Also with women, they go up with that spirit of rejection, and they're being rejected, and their only defense. And every time that someone say anything to them, when they do get in a relationship, then they don't know how to take it, because they're so used to being put down and let down, so they don't know how to actually accept happiness in their life.
And that's funny, because I was talking to somebody yesterday about. They was telling me about this new Zoom and the hybrid system in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So they were online watching, and a parent got on the Zoom and talking to the kid and saying, "You're so stupid. You know this question. You know how to answer. Stop being stupid." And and it's just like you said, parents or people within our families sometimes put these. These things into people's heads, or our children's head from a young age.
Yes.
And they grow up thinking that they're dumb, thinking they're stupid, they don't know how to do anything.
Right.
And those curses have to be broke.
Right. And the kids are so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that's why they drop their heads and not able to look you in the eye and stuff like that. Because of that. Beat down.
So Miss Judy asked a question: how do you get someone to go through their therapy if they don't believe they need it?
Oh, that's always the case.
They're not gonna go through it.
I found that out with so many people, especially husband and wife. The wife might want to go, and of course the men. I don't know what it is. About some of them, they would say, "Well, I don't need it." And then if they go one time, I don't think they like having a woman as a therapist, and then sometimes they feel a little threatened about the therapist if it's a man, if they are really strong, if they're a strong person. That kind of thing. But you just, all I can say, you have to just trust God and believe that it would happen. And then if they don't go yourself. And I found a lot of people that really work with them. They went themselves, and like I say, you have to find out yourself and what's going on.
You can suggest things to them concerning therapy in a marriage or single, or if you're engaged or going through counseling or whatever. And the main question would be, do you really want to remain in this marriage?
Yeah.
If you really want to remain in this marriage, if you really want to work, because marriage takes work, then you're going to do whatever it takes to keep your marriage together. So that's the question that I would ask. Do you really want to remain in this marriage? If you do not want to remain in this marriage, then therapy is not a choice. That means that you've already made up your mind. So that's a question. If they answer, no, I don't really want the marriage, or yeah, I really want to work on it, but I'm not willing to go to therapy. And most, if the woman is willing to go to therapy and he's not willing to go to therapy, then I suggest that you go to therapy.
Right.
You see about yourself. You take care of you, and the Lord gonna take care of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way. I would answer that
Yeah.
for him.
It brings up what Miss Pam here says, that forgiveness is definitely key.
Yeah.
But some relationships should not be restored. I bring that up because I think that's true in a manner, because
Mm-hmm.
just like you were saying, that there has to be a decision that made, if you want this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's married or if you're dating or whatever you're going through, and you're trying to correct it,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to make the change to
Mm-hmm.
correct it,
Mm-hmm.
then there has to be some kind of decision that has to be made.
Right.
I don't know what y'all thoughts are on that.
Yeah. And then sometimes it depends. So sometimes there are hidden secrets when they come.
Right.
And if they're hidden secrets where he is abusive to her, verbally, and that's not being bought out, then that's what discernment comes in. Because you know what? I'm not going to ever tell anybody to go to counseling and therapy if he's beating on your head every day.
Amen.
So there is some what you call it? You have to make decisions, like Pastor said. There's some decisions that you will have to make on your own. Are you willing to really remain in this marriage under these circumstances, and go to counseling under these circumstances?
Yeah.
So that's something that you would have to make a choice.
And that's what this show is about today. Is it all worth it?
Is it all worth it? And I just feel in my spirit it is not worth it.
Yeah.
Go. I'm just being real. It's not worth it. If you're going to cuss me out every day and call me names that I know I'm not, then it's not worth it. Bye, boy.
So that brings the question of, why should I fight for what I want? Why should I fight for what I want?
Okay, Mother got that.
Mother got that. With some of this stuff they're talking about, I haven't gone through that, and I probably wouldn't stand for it anyway. No, that can't be on my name.
Mom's a secret fighter. You ain't gonna just come up on her like that. That's not happening. You might get popped in your lips. Don't tell Archbishop.
But we were talking, and I was thinking last night. I said, my husband really, really fought, not fight, but he in his way he fought to get me as his wife. But there also was something that I didn't know about, and that was the dream that he had dreamt about me, and me holding a child in each arm. And we always tell Micah he's
a bonus.
He's a bonus. And because we had, like he tells the story, he saw me and all the stuff that he went through to see me again. And then when I saw him again, I would not, go out with him or anything like that. But he just continued. I mean, he just show up and we became friends. And that's a way that we didn't see it as a way of fighting, but what it was, that was the Spirit of God in us, and what he had planned for us to be together. And it took roads of misunderstanding and different things would come up that the enemy tried to keep us apart, even put other people in our lives and stuff like that we weren't, we didn't think anything about it, because we had no desire to really, really be married at that time. But in all of that, and what I said to you a few minutes ago about the fighting and and it finally came to a place when he came here and was a pastor for 4 years, and I was still in Memphis. We became really good friends. I mean, more and more. And like he said, he would call me all the time a night. And if he was disappointed with something here was going on, he would always call me, and stuff like that. But yet still we had other people in our lives. And finally, it just reached a point where the Lord began to work on each of us. And I just saw that. I said, why am I beginning to think about it more in another way, you know, other than just a friend? And he was like that too. And so finally, he just called me up one day and he said, how would you like to marry a preacher? I said, I don't know. I said, I have to think about it. And so he didn't really think about nothing I had said that I think about it. He just started making plans for us to get married.
Okay.
So he in all of this, what I'm saying was it was a process of us fighting. We had to fight to get rid of, you know, other you know, things in our lives that you know, and you know, and I was very close, still very close to my family. I had a very good job with the government. I had to think about leaving that. And matter of fact, the people did not think that I was going to leave my family or my job because of the fact that they knew how much that meant to me.
Right.
And so, but anyway, the Lord began to put on my heart that I had to do this. So I had to make up my mind. Okay, I got to fight to get rid of all these other things. And then too, my younger sisters and brothers, I had led all of them to Christ. And so, you know, all of them were still on my mind because I was like a second mom to me. I had to fight off a whole lot of things because of the fact and I knew that I had to leave, because sometimes when you're close to your family and people like that, they become like a little Jesus to you. And I knew that I had to, the Lord was moving me all the way 1,300 and some odd miles from my family, which loved me. I mean, every last one of them.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about my mom and my dad, my sister and brother. I'm talking about the entire, the aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, everybody. So, you know, you have to leave. But the fight that was between my husband and I, the Lord began to, and I told the Lord, I said, now, if he's the one, I said, I want you to start moving my thoughts towards him. And the same for him towards me, so we would sure enough be connected. And even after that, there were some struggles. After we married, there were struggles that, you know, that we had to fight through for those first 3 years. Those first 3 years were tough because I'm used to of a big family growing up with a mom and a dad, and he wasn't. So we had to you know, go through some of those struggles, some of the other things that we just had to learn about each other. But what I want to say to some of the young women today and young men, is it worth it that Jesus he's a part of your life? And I get emotional when I see my beautiful young girls out here who are selling just to have a man.
Yeah.
Even those who have moved in with you and you got children. It hurts. It hurts me.
Yes.
Because of some of the things that we are talking about today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more than just having somebody in the house with you or having to lay down with you, or having you to pay the bills. Are you selling to say that you can't do better? What about what are you saying about yourself, that I can't get beyond this, and this is as far as I'm going as a young woman or young man in life. And God has these things. I know a lot of times you don't want to hear the spiritual part, but he's looking. Suppose All of this stuff that's happening today.
Mm-mm.
Suppose Jesus came today.
My.
Ask yourself the
Yes,
question,
yes.
where will I go? Am I
Mm-mm.
going to heaven
Mm-mm.
or am I going to hell?
Mm-mm.
So you need to start reading your Bible and learn more about yourself in these stories in the Bible, anything relate to you, and ask God to minister to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have challenge. We all have been through some of the same thing that you are going through.
That's right.
But you have to find yourself and make up your mind. I'm not going to take this anymore. If a person cannot commit to you, and if a person is, like Reverend Robert said, dogging you, embarrassing you, I mean, cursing you and your children out, and getting drunk and just everywhere, you got to find out, is this where I want to live the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Or I can do better. And God will give you what you ask.
Oh, yes, he will.
If you turn your life over to him, he will give you what you are looking for. You that love that you're looking for.
Yes.
The happiness, even the jobs. And your kids will turn out the way that you want them to. I'm not saying that because a child is raised up in the house with you because you are a Christian, they got to find their way. And I've said that about my own kids. They had to find the way. They got to get out there and experience some things themselves for them to know that God is real.
Yes.
And you just. And I'm sorry that I got all teary eyed.
That's all right.
That's what this about. Candid conversation.
But all of you are my children. I just see
right.
people as my children. I can't help it. I just really can't help it.
Okay.
No, and I was gonna say that's good.
It's good. Yes,
And if you did not take the risk, if you did not say that it was worth it all, I wouldn't be here. You know, Dad wouldn't be with who he is.
That's right.
And we wouldn't have my sister, my brother, and the generation that we have to come would not be if you did not say it was worth it.
That's
all.
Right.
And I think we have to realize that, and the reason I'm saying that is that we have to make the right decisions. Like you were talking about, even to the young women, young men, we have to make the right decisions now, because those decisions will affect the next generation to come.
Yes.
And the way that we handle those situations and the way that we portray our lives to the public is the way that those generations will do the same.
That's
so
right.
it's a cycle.
Yeah,
it's a cycle. So it's so important. But you was gonna say something, Dr. Roberts? Were you about to say something? Oh, okay. But yeah, so I no, thank you for sharing.
But even later on in life, even where my husband and I are now in our marriage, it's just so wonderful, the feeling and the love that we have for one another, to be able to hold hands. Sometimes at night, sometimes I can wake up and I just look over and I thank God that we are still, together.
Yeah.
Out of all the things that we have gone through in life together. And it just makes a difference, because you are going to get older and you're going to want to have somebody by your side, to share those golden years to come in your life.
We got a couple of questions that came in while you was talking. One question was, can you talk about the difference between love and lust? And I think many blur the lines, especially in relationships.
And that's what I'm saying. Some of the things that's happening to you, even in these relationships, is because of lust. And you like feeling that you can give this person what they want at any moment and stuff like that. To me, love is beyond that. You can love a person, even if I know people who are married, and it's not like it used to be when they were younger. And sometimes men have problems. Sometimes women have problems with that lust part. But I think you are able to get over the lust. sometimes people have lust because of they've been into pornography, or they've seen that around the house that they came up in. It's so many things. I don't know.
Well, yeah, well, lust can also be like when couples or to see what each other have.
Yeah,
it could be a material thing.
Oh yes, yes.
You can be lusting. It's not really love. It's lusting of, okay, we can have this, we can have that, but we really don't have love. We're actually lusting after material things to get over in life, or to just have each other to keep up with the Joneses, as they say, or that could be a part of lust. It don't always have to be like sex, which some of them do. Right. A lot of them do. But when you really love someone, two people who love each other, guess what they do? First of all, you're going to look toward the future. You know, where are we headed? You're going to have a vision. You're going to follow that vision when you actually in love, really love one another. And guess what? You're going to be doing it God's way. Right. You're going to always try to communicate and be on one accord, doing it together. That's love. When you're lusting for something, you're trying to, eventually someone is going to become jealous of the other person, what they have, what they have accomplished. You can't accomplish that. That's lust. So you're in a lustful relationship because she looked good or he looked good, and he dressed you or I dress him, or we both have this, we both have that. I have counseled people who were in a lustful relationship and not really a love relationship, and found out that, you know what, I really don't like you. I don't like your attitude. I just like living with you. I just like the things that we have. And so that's lust. So that's the difference. When you really love one another, you're going to work together. You're going to stick and stay, like I said before. Things going to get rough because marriage is work. When you're working toward marriage, is work. But you're gonna actually communicate. Communication is key when it comes to love. If you can communicate, and I mean have communication skills, and and really learning one another, know what makes each other tick, that's love. Know what hurts me, what doesn't, know what to say and not what to say. That's love. When I first married my husband, I was a little timid. I didn't seem like it at times. But I was a little timid, but he knew what pushed my buttons and what didn't. He got to know me as a person. That's love. Lust is just, okay, take it one day at a time. What comes, what goes. If you don't like it, too bad. That's lust. That's not love. Okay. All right.
That's good. That's good. That's good. There was another question that came across, but it was talking about sacrificial love. And can sacrificial love get entwined or mixed with unfair treatment for the benefit of if the other person is treating you unfairly for the benefit of their gain, their own gain? So you're you
know what? And I forgot. I wanted to say something about that. I think I'm headed the way this person is thinking. See, because sometimes people in a relationship will use you to gain, to get ahead. And they tell little lies that tell you half of the truth, and they won't tell you all the truth. You got to look at a lot of things. You got to look at the way that they pay their bills, and not only that, you got to look at so many things to whereas you can see they are always doing things for themselves and not thinking totally about you as well. And you're the one who ends up in the sacrifice part of the relationship. You're always sacrificing. You're sacrificing for them, all right, to go get a piece of clothes, or something like that. Or you sacrifice for them to have money when you don't have money. You're sacrificing when their children is looking better than your children. It's so many things that that comes with that part of the is it the sacrifice? Sacrifice. Yeah, that you're doing, and you find that their car is better than your car. I mean, all of this, you can see that they are not really thinking when you all sit down to think about money. They're not thinking about, can you pay for all of this? You know, and stuff like that. It's so many areas when it comes to that, when you make a sacrifice.
Well, then when they was talking about the commitment part of it, the sacrificial love, when you're talking about the commitment part of it, yes, when you're committed to one another, there you will sacrifice. You will sacrifice education if a person needs to go to school to better their education, so you can have a better life for your children, for a legacy for your children. Yes, that's that committed sacrificial love. But as Mother said, when it comes to that one-sided thing where I'm always sacrificing for you, there's nothing in return, then that's not sacrificial love. That's a one-sided thing. That's not really that God kind of committed love that we're talking about. That agape love is that love where you work together. You know, because I know when I was going to school, my husband sacrificed. I mean, he sacrificed a lot for me to go to school to get my doctorate degree, because of the fact that I had Raphael still there. So he did a lot for me to help when he could have been doing something else. He would miss out on overtime so that I can go to school. That's that agape sacrificial love. Well, just what you call that. But that other love where you got to, and I've seen that happen a lot, and it happens a lot with women and some men. They actually, that's like Mother said, they want to actually, you just give, and you be so insecure till you're afraid you're going to lose that person. So you constantly doing things to help them. Oh, I help you get a car. I co-sign. Oh, you like that suit? I'll buy it. But then what are you getting in return? And sometimes we neglect our children. And I've seen it happen to Christians do that. Really neglect our children so our man can look good. Come on. Your child need a haircut. And he look like, is it all worth it? He need a haircut. And you wonder, he walk around, he got all booty, his hair all slicked down, and your child coming there look like he had a haircut in 2 years. But you sacrifice so he can get a haircut every week. The devil is a lie from the pit of hell. Excuse me.
All right. There's a question came up from Ms. Ernestine. It says, when speaking about risk and being vulnerable to another, when you embark on a new relationship, what advice would you give a couple so it can last in these times, 2020?
When speaking about risk and being vulnerable.
Taking the risk of being vulnerable to one another. When you embark in a new relationship, what advice would you give a couple so it can last in these 2020 days?
Well, when you're talking about being embarked and being vulnerable to one another, that means that you're open for anything to one another. In these days in 2020, we shouldn't be too vulnerable to just I'm going to answer the way that I think that you're asking, because if you're opening up too much in a relationship, you're giving too much. So why keep what they say, why keep the milk when you got a cow? How does that say it? I don't know how to say it.
I don't know. That's what no old school.
That's what but the thing is that should be boundaries. That should be Why you want to just take the milk when you can have the whole cow? Now sometimes when you're vulnerable to one another, at the end of the day, in the long run, he gonna marry somebody else because you're too vulnerable. And he feels like if you're vulnerable to him, you're gonna be vulnerable to someone else. And that's why we need boundaries. In 2020, make sure there are boundaries. Set some boundaries in your life. Something just don't settle for. No, I'm not gonna settle for this. No, this is not me. I don't want to do that. Have your own mind. Don't let men think for you. Men don't let women think for you. You have your own mind. You know who you are. So you don't be that vulnerable that they just fall on in. You just fall on in the trap. And when you're falling in the trap and you think I'm just in love, that's lust. Now that's another thing with lust, because you're falling in the trap of things.
Right.
So what if they both are vulnerable?
If both are vulnerable, I'm gonna say the same thing. If both are vulnerable, I'm just gonna tell you what I know, not what I'm not. Not that I've been that way, but I'm just saying I got a lot of people in my family, right? And I counsel a whole lot of people in my family. Okay, where both of them are vulnerable, and guess what? Both of them are vulnerable, but both of them are weak. At some point, it's gonna get old.
Yeah.
It's gonna get stale. And guess what? That's what I'm saying. Why buy the milk when you can have the whole cow? That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying is both of you are weak. Both of you are vulnerable. At the end of the day, at some point, it's going to get old. It's going to get stale. And guess what? That's what when a man finds a woman who's not going to be vulnerable like that, who's going to have boundaries, who's not going to accept everything and anything, that's the one he's going to get. And he's been with you 5 and 6 years, and guess what? You are not his wife.
I think it's two definitions to that. I think I understand.
It might be.
I think I understand what you're saying. I think there's the other definition of where you're being involved, where you're being open.
You're being open.
So in terms of sharing, showing them how you live, how you act.
Yeah.
You don't. Because we talked about the mask.
Yeah.
We talked about the mask earlier, taking the mask off. And I think the only way that you can take the mask off is for you to, in a sense, be vulnerable enough to trust.
But if you've been vulnerable, I think she was saying, if you're vulnerable and then you go into a new relationship. But the thing is, that's good. Being vulnerable to one another where you can share with one another. But I'm going to tell you something. The only way that you should do that, if you know in your knower that this man is your husband, you can't be vulnerable telling people everything you got, or the woman is your wife. You can be vulnerable and open to one another. He know all your bank account. You know all his bank account. He even knows the password. I'm serious. Some people get that vulnerable. They know they vulnerable to one another. They feel like, okay, this is going to be my husband because he's shown it to me with my finite eyes and mind that he's actually my husband. So I could tell him anything. Freeman knew everything. I could tell my husband everything about me. He was my bestie of the best friends. But guess what? He didn't know that until I knew in my knower, in my spirit man, that this man is going to be my husband. Yeah. He's going to be with me forever. So there was no closed books in my life. He knew my weaknesses. He knew my strengths. Yeah. But you don't share all of that stuff unless you actually know. Or guess what? At the end of the day, when you shared all of that stuff, men and women, and then you end up not with that person, where are you going to be? Lost within yourself.
Right. And see, sometimes you're already vulnerable when people see the way that you live, the car you drive,
everything you have.
Some men now, they are just as bad as the women are. They're looking for a gold digger. They're gold diggers, and so, say for instance, some of you all have houses, and they don't have one.
Right.
You know anything? There's some kind of excuse that they got put out or something like that, and then they end up in your house. You are vulnerable because of the fact, and some people know how to manipulate and get you to talk about where you are financially, struggling when you go out and stuff like that. And that kind of thing. That if you're going to take me out, you're taking me out. Then if you left your wallet at home,
you better watch this.
They keep leaving their wallet at home. Wow, man, something wrong.
Well, they'll see you as being desperate for a man, so they'll start. They'll
start using that. And this $100 bill. I left my wallet. I'm sorry.
So there are so many ways that you can be vulnerable.
That's true.
It's true. We got well, we had an
We're
hour.
out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. We had an hour mark, but they were the questions are starting to come in like crazy now. But there's two questions I just want y'all to answer for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right. So this question says, how do you know that a man is your husband? At what point, time, and sign?
Well, I can answer to
30 seconds.
My because the Lord showed me. She actually showed me step by step that we need to be together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a suggestion for that?
How do you know that a man is your husband? One way you have to know a man is your husband, like Mother said, you're gonna have to pray. Now I'm serious, because the way you know a man is your husband is number one is the way that he treat you. The way that he treats you in the times when ain't nobody looking, when there's nobody around, his character, all of that counts. On how you know he's your husband is because he's going to actually let you know that I'm going to take care of you. I can take care of you. Okay, without you even having to even think about it. That's a good husband.
Yeah.
A good husband is a man who, and I'm talking about Christians. We're not talking about heathens here.
Yeah.
We're talking about, a man is your husband. Guess what? When a man prays for his wife, for his woman, that's a good husband. Yeah. When he can pray, when he can be attentive to you, when he's a good listener.
Yes.
When you're crying and when you're in your vulnerable state and you're falling on defense and you're blaming and he's calming you down. That's a good husband.
Amen.
That's when you know that you have a good husband. But number one is prayer. That's key. Another thing is they love the Lord. If they don't love God, I'm done.
Get out the shop.
If they don't love God, then they can't be my husband. They gotta learn. I told my husband if he didn't keep God first, then that was it. All right. I hope that answered your question.
I think that was good. And we might have to do a show on who's the right one and in terms of relationships and talk about that, because I think a lot of people don't know what to look for or what they need in order to have a successful marriage. And I think that's one of the problems, especially with our younger generation. We going off of looks first, and they're making me feel emotional, and then that might be the right one, but they don't have the qualities, or are they even ready yet to be in a marriage, or a full-time relationship. This last question was: would you suggest then that communication and understanding result in the best relationships?
Yeah. Would you suggest that
communication and understanding results in the best relationship?
Yes, communication is key. If you cannot communicate, then you do not have a great relationship.
Amen.
Communication is number one, to tell you the truth. If you cannot communicate and if you can't trust, you don't have a relationship.
Amen.
Well, thank y'all for joining us. This has been another wonderful session with my two mothers, and my mother is always here on the last Thursday of each month. So
it's Thursday.
I'm sorry.
She get mixed up because tomorrow night, if y'all women want to be part of her Zoom call on tomorrow night, her and Dr. Roberts will be back here, and Winston-Salem will be on here. Well, not on here, but on their Zoom. Go to the First Cathedral's Facebook page and you get the Zoom information. You don't want to miss that. Women in the Now. So that's tomorrow night with them, and they have these kind of conversations also. But we are here every Thursday at 11 a.m. for a session of Stronger and Better. Please, you'll see my YouTube channel at the bottom of the screen. Please subscribe and join us each week, and make sure that you're leaving comments, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when we're on the air. But thank you for joining us. I love y'all.
Love you.
This has been a great conversation and a great time. Is it all worth it? So you have to think about it. Because not only does it affect you now, but it affects the generations to come. So just make sure that you share this, and make sure you like it, leave your comments, and love y'all so much. Again, we're here every Thursday at 11. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll talk to you later. Love you.
Bye. See you tomorrow.